Entry inhibitors and integrase inhibitors are groups of medications that are used in heart or highly active antiretroviral therapy, which is a combination of medications used in the treatment of AIDS. AIDS is caused by a retrovirus called human immunodeficiency virus, or HIV. Entry inhibitors act by preventing the binding of HIV to the CD4-positive cell receptors, thereby preventing its entry into the cell. Integrase inhibitors inhibit the viral integrase enzyme, which is needed to incorporate the HIV proviral DNA into the host cell DNA. HIV is a single-stranded, positive-sense enveloped RNA virus that targets cells in the immune system that have a molecule called CD4 on their membrane. These include macrophages, dendritic cells, and especially CD4-positive T helper cells. Normally, the CD4 molecule helps these cells attach to and activate other immune cells when there's an infection. HIV has two proteins, GP120 and GP41, that form a complex on its envelope, which is used to attach to the CD4 molecules. Next, it uses this complex to attach to a co-receptor on the immune cell before it can gain entry. The most common co-receptor that HIV binds to is the CXCR4 co-receptor on T cells, or the CCR5 co-receptor found on T cells, macrophages, monocytes, and dendritic cells. When HIV binds to the CD4 and the co-receptors, the viral envelope fuses with the cell membrane of the immune cell, releasing its single-stranded RNA and some viral enzymes, like reverse transcriptase and integrase, into the helpless host cell's cytoplasm. Once it's inside the CD4-positive cell, reverse transcriptase gets to work immediately. It uses a single-stranded viral RNA as a template, and uses the nucleotides present in the cytoplasm of the CD4-positive cell to transcribe a complementary double-stranded proviral DNA. Integrase then helps to integrate this proviral DNA into the normal DNA of the cell. And now it's ready to be transcribed into new viruses. Pretty sneaky, huh? Well, here's the actual sneaky part. When the immune cells become activated, they start transcribing and translating proteins needed for the immune response. Ironically, this means that whenever the immune cell is exposed to something that causes it to start up an immune response, like any infection, the immune cell ends up inadvertently transcribing and translating new HIV viruses, which bud off of the cell membranes to infect more cells. Very sneaky indeed. Over time, more and more immune cells are infected, and the immune system begins to fail, which is called immunodeficiency. And this increases the risk of infections and tumors that a healthy immune system would usually be able to fend off. These complications are referred to as AIDS, or acquired immunodeficiency syndrome. Now, in order to prevent the HIV virus from infecting a cell, we can use entry inhibitors, also called fusion inhibitors. The first medication, enfuvirtide, targets the HIV virus by binding to the GP41 present on its envelope and disabling it, so there's no fusion of viral and cell membranes. This medication is given to treat strains of HIV that develop resistance against other commonly used antiretroviral medications, like nucleoside reverse transcriptase inhibitors. Enfuvirtide is given as subcutaneous injections. Its main side effects include pain and development of cysts or nodules at the injection site. There's also an increased risk of bacterial infections, leading to problems like pneumonia. The second type of entry inhibitor is maraviroc, which targets the immune cells. This medication binds to the CCR5 co-receptor on the surface of macrophages and T cells, which prevents GP120 from binding. This medication can't be used against HIV strains that bind to the CXCR4 receptor instead of CCR5. CCR5 receptor inhibitors are used as add-on medications in heart regimens, which means that they're used to boost the effect of other antiretroviral medications. CCR5 receptor inhibitors are generally well tolerated. The most common side effects include diarrhea, joint and muscle pain, and they can also damage the liver, leading to jaundice and elevated hepatic enzymes. Now, suppose the virus does fuse with the immune cell and deposits its RNA and enzymes. Now we can use integrase inhibitors like raltegravir, elvitegravir, and dolutegravir. These guys enter the HIV-infected cell and reversibly bind to the active site of viral integrase enzyme. This means that the proviral DNA can no longer be incorporated into the host cell's DNA, which stops the formation of new HIV viruses. Integrase inhibitors are used as a first-line medications in heart, along with 2 nucleoside reverse transcriptase inhibitors, or NRTIs. Side effects of integrase inhibitors include nausea, headache, and myopathy, which leads to an elevated creatinine kinase. Okay, now we want to make a simple and fun mnemonic that'll help you efficiently memorize and retain all these pharmacology facts. So let's have some HIV viruses invade from the sea, while the land represents our immune cell. These viruses are carrying a pitchfork to represent the number 4, and a wand for 1, to help you remember GP41. A tidal wave, representing enfuvertide, is about to knock the weapons out of their hands and foil their invasion. On the beach are 5 coconut trees, representing the CCR5 protein. Patrolling by the trees is a soldier armed with a pair of maracas, representing Maraviroc. He's pretty diligent in preventing the viruses from making it to the tree lines, but the HIV that doesn't target CCR5 can still make it past him. Now, some of these lucky viruses aren't so lucky after all. Further inland, representing inside the cell, there's a tiger waiting for them. This represents the integrase inhibitors with tegra in their names, like raltegravir, elvitegravir, and dolutegravir. It's got a heart-shaped spot on its body to help you remember that it's used for heart therapy. For side effects, there's a happy little bacteria surfing on the enfuvertidal wave for bacterial infections, and he's got a syringe sticking out of his head for injection site pain. Next to the Maraviroc soldier, there's another guy doing push-ups. He's lifting a big liver-shaped stone on his back for hepatic damage and elevated liver enzymes, and his joints and muscles are swollen since it's too heavy for him. Finally, the tiger has a bunch of weight training equipment to help you remember integrase inhibitors cause myopathy and elevated creatinine kinase. Alright, as a quick recap. Entry inhibitors include enfuvertide, which targets the GP41 on the envelope of HIV, and Maraviroc, which targets the CCR5 co-receptor on certain immune cells. These medications prevent the entry of HIV into the CD4-positive cells and are used as add-on medications in heart therapy. Integrase inhibitors like raltegravir, elvitegravir, and dolutegravir inhibit viral integrase and prevent insertion of proviral DNA into the host cell genome. These medications stop the production of new HIV viruses that are commonly used along with 2 nucleoside reverse transcriptase inhibitors in heart therapy. But wait, there's more. Here's a mind map with all the mnemonics from the video. Go ahead and pause the video so you can test yourself to see what you remember. Stay tuned for the answers after the credits.